A sellout crowd at Hilton Coliseum is already in a frenzy, and why not? It's not often you get to see games like this. Games like this are why coaches coach. They're why players play. Games like this are why you put in the hours of practice, the sweat, the emotion, the energy. But you need a star, and we have two. Marcus Fizer has taken his game to another level, an All-American level. But Desmond Mason is a battle-wise senior, a great athlete who lives for games like this. Take a look at the Big 12 Conference standings. It's been a 4-month journey. It's Oklahoma State and Iowa State at the top. They square off today. Iowa State picked today to honor the popular Johnny Orr. Coincidence or more fuel to the Hilton Coliseum fire?
Big 12 basketball is brought to you by Sleep In. The next time you travel, stay at Sleep in a class by itself. Dodge. In a perfect world, everything would be different. Sonic, America's Drive-In, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball on ESPN+. Shelter insurance for your life, home, car, farm, or business. Shelter insurance will always be there for you. National Car Rental. What are you waiting for? Let's go. Phillips 66, where we put the best in our super clean gasolines so you can get the most out of your car. Choose Phillips 66, the performance company. And by Bank of America.
Introducing ESPN.
Well, you couldn't ask for a better atmosphere for college basketball. A top 20 battle. Oklahoma State against Iowa State with the Big 12 Conference lead and perhaps the championship on the line. Hi, everybody. John Walters along with Paul Splittorff. Because of the late running of the other games, we're already underway here. And Iowa State has a 4-3 advantage over Oklahoma. Marcus Fizer and Jamaal Tinsley have scored for Iowa State. Joe Adkins hit a 3 for Oklahoma State. Let's take a look at the Southwestern Bell starting lineups. And for Oklahoma State, Montonati has had back-to-back double-doubles. Gottlieb and Adkins in the backcourt, Mason, Jonzen, and Montonati up front. And for Iowa State, Kantrail Horton, a good three-point shooter, joins Tinsley and Nurse in the backcourt. Stevie Jonzen and Marcus Fizer are up front. And Paul, let's take a look at your Dodge keys to victory.
Well, both these coaches have prepared well for this ball game. Coming in for Oklahoma State, Eddie Sutton knows that they need to do a good job in transition defense. Iowa State got up and down the floor well against Texas in midweek. They've also got to get out and defend the guards, find those three shooters, and do a good job of defending that three-point shot. Larry Eustachy on the other side of the floor for Iowa State needs to come out and find the three shooters for Oklahoma State. Cowboys have been shooting very well over the last 3 weeks. And on the offensive end, need to be very patient. They've got a couple turnovers already in today's game.
Nurse for 3.
Talk about guys getting hot of late. Michael Nurse, 5 threes against Texas here on Wednesday night. He finished with 20 points.
And Iowa State is 3 of 3 from the floor. Gottlieb picks up the dribble. This is Montonati.
Iowa State in man-to-man defense. Big matchups are going to be out on the front on the guards. They're also going to want to front that post inside.
Jonzen in on Fizer with a turnaround jumper. And the rebound to Jamaal Tinsley. Might have been partially blocked. Tinsley takes it to the rack and has it denied by Desmond Mason. Good defensive play by the senior.
These two teams match up very evenly. They're a 3-out, 2-in look. Guard-oriented teams, but also have scoring potential inside.
Paul, a lot of teams will back off Gottlieb on the perimeter. Larry Eustachy says he won't do that. He'll play him straight up.
Well, he's playing him straight up, but they're also going to try to take away the pass. I think they'll come down and anticipate pass if he penetrates low.
Adkins got up in the air. Gottlieb on the baseline. Back to Adkins for another 3. Out of bounds to Iowa State.
Adkins now 1 of 2 in this ballgame. Drained his first 3, and it was a long one. Talk about the point guards coming into this game. If you're going to have a high-flying engine, you've got to have a good driver. And a couple good drivers on both these teams. Gottlieb for Oklahoma State, Tinsley for Iowa State.
Two guys that look to pass first and ask questions later. Kantrail Horton with it on the left wing for the Cyclones.
Adkins has the matchup on Nurse.
This is Fizer for 3. banked it in. He banked it in from the top of the circle.
He had the first basket this afternoon from Iowa State just inside the circle. It was a 2. That one, he got a little bit lucky.
Iowa State 4 of 5 from the floor, and the Cyclones lead it by 7. Montonati spins in. Leaves it for Jonzen. The jumper is good.
One of the areas that Oklahoma State has really developed this year, the interior play. They were a guard-oriented team at the beginning of the year, but you look at the guys that have really improved for the Cowboys. Players like Jonzen and Montonati.
On the come-around Nurse, short jumper. Up high for the rebound is Mason. But Paul, we watched him in their shoot-around yesterday. What an athlete Desmond Mason is.
He was a lot of fun to watch before the game ended.
Tinsley on a steal. He's second in the conference in that category. Stevie Jonzen on a spin to the hoop.
Boy, that spin just took him right around Adkins. Finished with the layup. And Oklahoma State's going to take their second time out of the game.
Eddie Sutton used one early. He hasn't pulled the trigger yet. Crowd on its feet at Hilton Coliseum. Mason out to Montonati. Adkins guarded by Stevie Jonzen. Montonati goes inside to Jonzen. The hook goes. Nice shot by Fredrik. Jonzen, his second hoop.
Well, Jonzen was not even a starter for Oklahoma State in the beginning of the year, but he's now started 13 consecutive games and playing a lot of minutes.
Eddie Sutton says his two post players have really improved, Montonati and Jonzen. There you see the field goal shooting early on.
Both these teams, excellent offensive ball clubs. In fact, they rank first and second in most of the offensive categories in the Big 12 this season.
It's definitely the top two teams in the conference right now. Horton on a drive. The reverse wouldn't fall, and Montonati the rebound.
Jonzen forces him to change his shot. Had a straight-in layup, but had to take it underneath.
Adkins with a 3 in transition, his second 3 of the game, and Oklahoma State's right back within 2.
And you remember what Iowa State's defensive keys were. Find the three-point shooters. Right now, if you're looking for a hot three-point shooter for Oklahoma State, it's going to be Adkins. It's been that way for their last 5 games.
Inside, Fizer, good catch. Good finish.
Oklahoma does not have the strength inside to battle Marcus Fizer. Going to have to deny him the ball when he gets it. Going to have to look for some double teams. He should attract a lot of attention.
Mason tried to answer. Tinsley blocked it. Iowa State has the numbers. Tinsley to the trailer. Jonzen, and he missed it. And Jonzen, the rebound.
Any one of 3 Cyclones had the shot that time down the floor. Jonzen lost control. Oklahoma State very fortunate not to give up points there.
Gottlieb, the general out there, leaves it for Adkins. Sellout crowd at Hilton Coliseum. Adkins on a cut to the hoop.
Simple give and go. Pass it out to the wing. Iowa State putting all kinds of pressure out on the ball. Michael Nurse burned on that drive.
Iowa State has not lost on this floor all year. 19 consecutive victories going back to last season. But Oklahoma State's 8-2 on the road, so something has to give here this afternoon.
Trying to push Marcus Fizer clear away from the lane. Fizer very good and much improved this year, putting the ball on the floor and getting to the basket.
He lost it. Tinsley comes up with it. His jumper is good.
Jamaal Tinsley doesn't come out looking to score, but can score when he sees how that defense sets up. Nobody stepped up to take away that drive. He finished with a mid-range jumper. Larry Eustachy's got to love the energy in this building right now.
The pass is tipped and saved by Tinsley. He called a timeout. Great play by Jamaal Tinsley to get the timeout. And we have a timeout on the floor. We'll take one too. Stevie Jonzen spins in to help Iowa State to a 4-point lead, but Adkins had the answer.
Do you want to know when the games begin? Tune to ESPN Now, available only on cable, for a complete guide to all sports on television. You get continuously updated schedule information so you know exactly what's on when. Plus, get live sports headlines from ESPN.com and the Go Network. If you want to know what the latest sports news is and where the games are, the place to be is ESPN Now. ESPN Now, it's where sports fans go first for sports. To get ESPN Now, call your cable company.
People say I talk a lot of trash. I don't talk a lot of trash.
Iowa State now leading 19-15. We're getting caught up on our breaks. You missed Marcus Fizer hitting a 3, but Glendon Alexander off the bench for Oklahoma State answered with a 3 of his own. And now Fizer with his first miss of the day. He's 4 of 5 from the floor.
Marcus Fizer, it looks like Oklahoma State's going to give him that long-range shot.
There's the two marquee players we talked about in the beginning, Fizer and Mason. Fizer picks up the foul. Larry Eustachy, his second year at Iowa State.
Desmond Mason will shoot 2 for the Cowboys.
And Eddie Sutton, 10 years at Oklahoma State, but he's been coaching forever. And then some.
Talking to Eddie Sutton yesterday, asking about when was the last time you've been in this big a ball game this late in the year in conference play. He couldn't really remember. Talking about the teams who had dominated the conference recently. Of course, he had a Final Four team in the mid-90s when he had Big Country playing for him.
Mason hits 1 out of 2, and Oklahoma State is within 3. We've got a good one here. Don't go anywhere. 11:50 to go first half. Cyclones by 3. We'll be right back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66. Game is brought to you by Phillips 66, where we put the most in our super clean gasoline so you can get the most out of your car. Choose Phillips 66, the performance company. Eddie Sutton, it's a real pleasure to visit with him yesterday. His team is having a tremendous season. And Larry Eustachy, nobody expected his team to be in the race, but his players did, and here they are. It's been a great season in both towns.
You figure a ball game of this dimension, teams might come out a little tight, but both teams have come out shooting the ball well. Oklahoma State 60% so far this afternoon, 62% for the Cyclones. Taking up that number.
Tinsley's found his spot on the floor. He now has 6 points.
Well, he's involved on both ends. Involved offensively, already has 3 steals in today's game.
Adkins has 8 points early. He threw it away, though. Here comes Nurse with Fizer trailing. And this is Fizer back to Nurse. Denied by Mason. A great block.
Well, just go up and get it, and not goaltended either. That ball had not hit the glass. He ended up swatting it out of there.
Alexander missed the 3. Iowa State on the run again. Jonzen to Fizer. Fadeaway jumper. Marcus Fizer with 12 early on.
Fizer would have taken that all the way to the glass, but Alex Weber stepped up to deny the drive. Fizer had the move for it.
Adkins on the answer, in and out. Weber on the foul over the back. Time now for our Bank of America Salute to Excellence trivia question. Which team won the Big 12 basketball tournament in Kansas City last year? To enter, go to www.big12sports.com and answer the question correctly to have a chance to win tickets to the Big 12 tournament. Timeout on the floor. We've got a good one. Iowa State leads it by 7 early on. Back in just a moment.
Last night, more bloodshed.
The son of Sam Killer
struck again last night.
Iowa State leads it by 7. For a chance to win $1 million at the half-court line, don't miss the Bank of America Home Equity $1 Million Dream Shot. For complete rules, visit www.bankofamerica.com/sports. No purchase or transaction necessary. Paul, your thoughts on the early part of this ball game?
New three-point shooting would be a factor. It has been so far. Both clubs have come out shooting well from long range. Oklahoma State's been bothered by turnovers. Doug Gottlieb already has 3 today.
And Nurse hits another 3. That's the 4th three-pointer for Iowa State. Cyclones 4 of 5, Oklahoma State 3 of 7 from downtown.
Michael Nurse honored here before the start of today's game. One of 2 seniors on this Iowa State team.
He and Stevie Jonzen were honored. You see that Iowa State's on an 8-0 run. There's a foul on Iowa State. I believe it's going to go on Tinsley down in the post. There will be some mismatches on the floor today, Paul.
Well, and there's one of them right there when you've got a guy like Desmond Mason with his quickness at 6'6", ability to play it out on the floor, get it to the basket. He's as quick a player as there is in the conference, and now strong enough to come down on the low blocks, and I'm sure working against some smaller players, we'll see him in close to the basket a lot here this afternoon.
That's where Iowa State will miss Paul Shirley, who broke his foot in the win over Texas. Martin Rancic is healthy enough to play again. We're not sure how many minutes he'll get. Mason hits a 3.
Mason's been a little bit quiet so far in the ballgame. Kantrail Horton with the defensive assignment against him. Going to give away about 3 inches, so Desmond should be able to go get that shot about any time he wants to. Oklahoma State now in a 2-3 zone defense. Shot out for the Cyclones.
Montonati clears the rebound. Gottlieb, the national leader in assists. There's the 3-point shooting so far. Both teams shooting it well. and they have all season. Gottlieb forced to pick up the dribble. Mason fires a three. And the rebound to Horton.
A lot of the Oklahoma State players are what you would call street players. Once they hit one shot, they'll many times back it up with a couple more.
Nurse has it stuck on automatic. 3 threes for Michael Nurse.
You talk about having the feel. And he is not looking around the floor. When he touches the ball, if he's in range, he's letting it go.
Iowa State is getting its threes in transition. That's what Eddie Sutton wanted to avoid. He wanted to keep his team from giving up transition baskets.
When you're talking transition, you're not just talking layups. You're talking about getting back and find those shooters out in front. Now, Iowa State, when they get to the offense again, fans out with their shooters. It's the big guys that run the middle part of the lane.
A rare shot for Gottlieb. Stevie Jonzen cleared the rebound. Nurse has the hot hand. Missed this one, and Montonati the rebound.
And made it a tough shot. Desmond Mason took the run at him, got a hand in his face, so the shot was contested from long range.
Montonati backs in. And he walks with it. On the turnover, it goes to Iowa State. Not the start Eddie Sutton wanted.
Well, this is a veteran team that is playing very well on the road this year. 5-2 in conference play, 8-2 on the season. When you've got a veteran team, when you come into a hostile environment like we have here at Hilton, you expect the guys, while they might get off to a slow start, you'll find a way to keep themselves in the game.
Andre Williams, the terrific freshman, into the game for Oklahoma State. And Brandon Hawkins, a freshman, in for Iowa State. There's the steal so far. The Cyclones with some quick hands in the early going. It's a 10-point lead. Here's Jonzen. His final home game, as well as Nurse. The seniors on this Iowa State team.
New player into the ballgame for Iowa State, Brandon Hawkins. Young freshman, but a guy who can give them a lot of energy coming off the bench. He's very athletic.
Horton misfires. Fizer rebounds. Blocked by Williams. Here's a guy that averaged 13 blocks a game in high school, so don't be surprised to see him swat one away from time to time.
He is an outstanding talent, having trouble finding playing time. Suspended earlier this year, just working his way back into shape right now. A youngster with all kinds of athletic ability. They'll lean on him heavily next year.
Mason missed. Horton rebounded. Iowa State trying to run again.
Hawkins would like to get involved in the ballgame before you take an early long shot.
What a great pass by Jamaal Tinsley.
Going to be interesting inside. Neither one of these teams play with what you would call a true post player now that Paul Shirley is hurt. So not a lot of size on either team. So the 6'5" and 6'6" guys be able to take it down low and still get some things going.
Mason to Gottlieb. Hawkins the defensive assignment. Crowd in a frenzy at Hilton Coliseum. Iowa State on a 12-3 run.
And Oklahoma State desperately needs a solid possession that finishes with a good shot.
Mason on a long jumper. And the tip wouldn't go. There's Williams. Andre Williams.
One black jersey in there amongst 3 whites. And Williams, the freshman, comes out the winner.
And all of a sudden it gets quiet in Hilton Coliseum.
Oklahoma State continues to play the zone defense. Eddie Sutton normally a man-to-man coach. We'll see him play man-to-man most of the time, but they've played zone and been effective with it a lot this year.
Tinsley on a hesitation dribble, had it taken away momentarily. And it's out of bounds to who? I think it belongs to Oklahoma State. We have a timeout on the floor. Iowa State leads it by 10. We'll be right back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66, the Performance Company.
Time for Indiana and Michigan. 8 seconds to go. Tied at 79. A.J. Guyton gets his shot. He thinks it's pretty good. It doesn't hit anything, but Lynn Washington is there for the follow, the lay-in, and Indiana upsets Michigan State 81-79. Great finish. Back out to John Walters and Paul Splittorff, guys.
All right, thanks very much, Doug. A good win for Indiana. Let's a good look at Eddie Sutton. His team trails by 10. 6:09 to go here in the first half.
John, you take a look at the teams that are leading their conferences now, and the one common thing you'll find with those teams is the ability to go out and win key games on the road. That's what separates the leaders from the rest of the league.
That's something that both these teams have done a great job of this season. Shot clock is at 5. You see it in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, and then
Not a
Doesn't
factor
matter.
now.
Doesn't matter because Iowa State turns it over.
What matters to Oklahoma State right now is to get a good possession. They have made just 2 of their last 8 field goals in the game. Their shooting percentage down to 44%. They were over 60 for the first 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, you mentioned playing well on the road. Oklahoma State has won at Oklahoma and at Missouri. Iowa State's won at Kansas and at Missouri. So good road wins for both of these teams.
That's the reason they're playing for the lead in this conference here this afternoon. Oklahoma State will have to rely on their veteran leadership, all of the experience that they have to weather this storm. Trailing by 10.
Shot clock at 7. Mason on a spin move and a beauty, but he couldn't finish. Jonzen on the rebound, drew a foul, couldn't get the shot to go, but he'll go to the line.
Jonzen brought that ball down a little bit to kind of set his feet so he could go up strong with it. Trying to get back up over the defense. Desmond Mason, a highlight reel of his own right there, the little spin move. Jonzen with good work on the glass. Couldn't get it to drop.
Fredrik Jonzen, a sophomore out of Sweden. His teammate, Brian Montonati, says he's played with some great players in the past, and he's just starting to realize that he's a great player. Nice compliment from his teammate.
Well, he is a foreign exchange student. In fact, finished up high school in the Kansas City area. How would you like to be that basketball coach? That's a nice foreign exchange student coming into your school.
He got the better end of that deal. Jonzen hits the free throw, and Oklahoma State's back within 8. Richard Evans in the lineup for Iowa State, and Oklahoma State showing change on defense here,
Well, the
Paul.
zone is still out there for Oklahoma State. One of the things they're doing, they might give up a little bit on the perimeter, but they've done a pretty good job of taking Fizer out of the ball game. Iowa State's been unable to find him inside.
Evans lost control of it, got it back though, and now he lost it again. Jonzen up with the steal. Here comes Adkins.
Tough to get the transition game going against Iowa State. They always release a couple players.
Oh, what a shot by Joe Adkins. He has 10 to lead the Cowboys.
A guy who has good range. He showed us the 3 early, but also quick and athletic. Loves to take it down the lane.
Nurse has hit 3 threes. Mason's out on him.
Oklahoma State now on a 6-0 run after being a cold shooting team.
Fizer inside. They didn't stop him this time.
Iowa State finds the passing lane there because they go from side to side. They force that zone defense to move around a lot, and Fizer doing a good job of working the backside, finding an open slot on the floor. Good
14 points for Fizer already. He's coming off a career-high 35 against Texas. Mason lost control. They'll say it's out of bounds to Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State on the offensive end, Paul.
Well, they have so many athletes out on the floor that are good perimeter shooters that you have to step up and defend them on the wing, and then leaving the open the driving lane. There's the entry pass and the strong finish by Fizer. He had gone about 3 minutes without a touch.
8-point Iowa State lead. Alexander on the come around. Boy, is he a good shooter.
Well, he has been a hot shooter recently, and he is one of those spurt players for Oklahoma State. If he hits one basket, he'll usually follow it up with 2 or 3 more.
What a weapon off the bench. Glendon Alexander, another senior. Oklahoma State has a lot of seniors on this team. We'll talk about that more in a moment. But first we have a break. Glendon Alexander comes off the bench to fill it up for Oklahoma State. And the Cowboys climb back within 6.
We want to give them to an end.
And they're seeing the best in the Big 12 today. Iowa State leads it by 6. Coming up at halftime on the National Car Rental Halftime Report. Scores and highlights from the Big 12 and Top 25 college basketball, and a feature on Oklahoma's Kelvin Sampson picking up his 300th victory. Marcus Fizer has been terrific. He's hit 6 of 8 from the floor. We'll show you the team field goal shooting.
How about the 58% for Iowa State? Really remarkable when you consider Oklahoma State the top defensive team in the conference. Field goal shooting against them on average 38%. So Iowa State doing a good job of lighting it up here today.
Quick passes by the Cyclones on the perimeter. Tinsley trying to hand off to Fizer. I'm not sure how he even came up with that ball. Jonzen the rebound.
Well, it was a good delivery underneath to get it in the hands of Fizer, but that's a tough pass to make. Those players are just a couple feet away from each other. Normally you want good spacing, even against his own defense.
Oklahoma State has the lead down to 6. They can cut into it more on this possession. Adkins tipped up and it wouldn't go. Jonzen the rebound for Iowa State. Kantrail Horton, a good three-point shooter, but he's selective.
Zone appears to be working for Oklahoma State. It has slowed Iowa State down considerably from the pace they had early on in the game.
Nurse to Horton for three. Rebound, Stevie Jonzen, blocked by Jonzen.
Well, you don't normally think of Stevie Jonzen being a strong player inside to where he just moves people out, but that time moved Brian Montonati about 8 feet underneath the basket.
Montonati's been quiet for Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State has so many players that have stepped up to play well over the last month. I mean, their guards out on the floor, their interior players. Montonati, one of those players.
We woke him up. Montonati hits his first field goal. Eddie Sutton calls Montonati his most improved player.
Well, and that's one of the reasons, the ability to step out on the floor more now than he did even earlier this year.
There's a 10-2 Oklahoma State run right now. And the Cowboys within 4. Iowa State got off to the good start, led by as many as 10. Adkins the foul. Take a look at the matchup of point guards and how they've done so far. Tinsley has shot the ball more than Gottlieb. Otherwise, they're dead even.
Gottlieb not a scoring threat for Oklahoma State. If they have to count on his scoring, they're probably going to be in trouble here this afternoon. But you want those guys to take care of the basketball, distribute it to the rest of their teammates. And Tinsley's going to have to score some for Iowa State.
There's points in the paint, and Fizer has had most of those 12 for the Cyclones. He's pretty much what they have inside at this point with Shirley out.
Marcus Fizer last year 32 points against this Oklahoma State team, so they're pretty familiar the damage that he can do in the paint.
Only 5 fouls called so far in the game. I like that, Paul. They let good teams play at this time of year.
Well, you need to. In a game of this magnitude, I mean, you've got teams tied for first place, and you want this thing settled by the players, but it hasn't been overly physical to where somebody has gotten a clear-cut advantage.
Fizer draws a foul this time. He'll go to the line. 2-shot foul for the Cyclones. Marcus Fizer, a candidate for Big 12 Player of the Year, along with Desmond Mason. Leads the Big 12 in scoring. There you see the numbers.
Well, Marcus Fizer, lighter, stronger, and quicker this year than he was a season ago. Stepping through the double team, coming up off on that shot.
He's trying to slow down Oklahoma State's run here to close out the first half, but he missed both free throws. Horton the rebound for Iowa State.
Iowa State with only 2 points since the 9-minute mark. We're at 1:40 left in the half.
And the zone seems to have bothered Iowa State a little bit, Paul.
Well, it has slowed them down from the tempo that they had early on in the game. Good coaching decision by Eddie Sutton to change things up to break the tempo.
Jonzen inside, gets the layup.
And how about the bounce pass from Michael Nurse? Penetration on the wing near side. The strong pass, he gets the assist. Points inside.
That gets the crowd back into it. Montonati off a screen from Jonzen. Gives it back to Fredrik for the jumper. Rebound, Tinsley.
That shot open for Jonzen because of all the attention that Desmond Mason was drawing, working in alongside the lane.
Fizer open for 3.
Talk about focus. Brian Montonati was running right at him and had a hand in his face.
And he had a foot on the line, however. It's just a 2. So Iowa State's lead is 8. Fizer has 16. And the Cyclones answer the Oklahoma State run. Montonati on a jumper over Fizer. Tough shot.
Well, you expect players to develop throughout the course of the season, but it's rare that you see a senior develop like Montonati has this year. Usually it's the underclassman, maybe that second-year player that makes a huge improvement. Montonati playing well here today.
Shot clock is off. Iowa State will hold it for 1. Cyclones have led throughout this first half. Carried by Marcus Fizer. 8 seconds to go. Tinsley lobs it to Nurse. Long jumper. Long rebound. Jonzen had it knocked away. Montonati up with it, and we come to halftime. And a good first half it was. Iowa State behind Marcus Fizer with 16 first half points, already within 6 of his average. and Iowa State leads it by 6. Doug Bell will be back in Studio 66 right after this break. Cyclones by 6 at the half.
Car rental. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. At the half, it's Iowa State on top of Oklahoma State, 37-31, the battle for first place. Let's get caught up now on how everybody else is faring in the Big 12 with our Sonic Drive to Kansas City, brought to you by Sonic, America's Drive-In. Our other game going on right now, Kansas State at Texas Tech. K-State coming off a big win the other night, their first win in the conference. Cortez Groves knocks down the long three-pointer, cuts the lead to 1. Then Mario Lane, check out Mario off the break. Does anybody slam it better than Mario? Wow, that was big time. That was pretty. Right now, Texas Tech is losing to K-State at home, 33-32, but still 2.5 to play in the first half. Third place, Texas against A&M earlier today. Chris Mim was big. They're getting an assist to Chris Owens. Gets a slam himself and the foul. Mim, by the way, a double-double. Gabe Manecki gets the alley-oop. Gabe didn't play much, didn't have to. Mim sat most of the second half. William Clay hits the three-pointer. You get the idea. This was a wipeout from the start. 85-58 the final. Chris Mim, his 17th double-double of the season. Meantime, Colorado against Nebraska. Kerry Cohorn from the corner, wide open. Yes, a little string music. Huskers up by 2. Buffs come back. Richard Fox battling inside with a nice turnaround. It's 57 all. And then Kamani Friend with a putback jam. His mom from Kingston, Jamaica on hand to watch. Senior day, last game for Larry Florence at home for Nebraska. He had 23 points and Nebraska wins 69-64. Exciting game between Michigan State and Indiana. Mateen Cleaves on the break. Layup and the foul. It was a 14-0 run to start the second half for the Spartans. A.J. Guyton, huge game. That sends it to overtime. Andre Hudson for Michigan State. It's tied up, and then the air ball. Lynn Washington gets his first bucket. It's the big one, the game winner. Indiana tops first place Michigan State, 81-79. Michigan beats Northwestern in overtime. Northwestern had a chance to win it with 2 shots at the end of regulation. Couldn't get it done. Meantime, St. John's at number 2 Duke. The Cameron Crazers are going wild. Nate James off the break, slamming down. The easy slam for Nate. Shane Battier. Why not? From way downtown. That's why the NBA scouts love that guy. He can play from anywhere. Duke on top of St. John's. The Red Storm red hot right now, too. They're down by 6. Maryland knocks off Carolina 81-73, getting some payback. Remember, they lost at Chapel Hill earlier this season. Tennessee at Alabama. From the outside, Tony Harris for the Volunteers. Here comes Shea Cotton for the Crimson Tide, slamming it down. Oh, they're going wild at Coleman Coliseum. Another nice shot for the Tide. And in the end, Terrence Mead with a big shot. Bama upsets Tennessee 80-75. Three-way tie now atop the SEC East. The Gators play Auburn tomorrow. If they win, they're in first place. Ole Miss. You saw the score there. Kentucky beats Arkansas 60-55. And South Carolina at home knocks off Georgia in the Southeastern Conference. Utah against Colorado State. Ron Grady nails a three-pointer from the top of the key. And check out that floor at Colorado State. Man, you need 3D glasses or something to enjoy it there. Cedric Goodwin throws it down, the offensive rebound. On the scoreboard now, the Rams were enjoying that as they led early. And right now they're topping 24th ranked Utah 43-28. Temple comes from behind to beat UMass 72-54. UMass led with about 10 minutes to go in the second half, but Temple rallies to win 72-54. Still looking for maybe a 1 or 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. Back with more after this. The halftime score, Cyclones on top of the Cowpokes by...
Me, though, Rick. Yeah, so I'm on ESPN.com. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what .com stands for. Well, Dot is short for Dorothy, the Bambino's second daughter. And Com, short for Comiskey Park, where Dorothy sat in seat 7H, and the Bambino hit a 2-run homer in the third inning to win the first All-Star game back in '33. Hence .com.
It happened again last night. More bloodshed.
The son of Sam Killer
struck again last night.
Death was in the air.
I just saw the bodies.
But in one neighborhood...
The killer has caused panic-stricken brunettes to dye their hair blonde.
I feel like I'm cheating on you with you.
They never felt more alive.
That psycho is gonna have no place to hide.
Summer of Sam.
To stop me, you must kill me.
A Spike Lee joint. Now on pay-per-view. Rated R.
The games will come to an end this weekend, but that doesn't mean you have to leave the worldwide leader in sports at home. Because the news, interviews, and analysis from your favorite ESPN personalities continues all day, every day on over 600 radio stations nationwide. Check your local listings to find the ESPN radio station near you. ESPN Radio. Take it with you.
Do you want to know when the games begin? Tune to ESPN Now, available only on cable, for a complete guide to all sports on television. You get continuously updated schedule information so you know exactly what's on when. Plus, get live sports headlines from ESPN.com and the Go Network. If you want to know what the latest sports news is and where the games are, the place to be is ESPN Now. ESPN Now. It's where sports fans go first for sports. To get ESPN Now, call your cable company.
Welcome to the National Car Rental Halftime Report, brought to you by National Car Rental. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. Classroom Champ is brought to you by Phillips 66. When it comes to convenience and value, it's at the top of the class. Hats off to Oklahoma State's Jason Keefe, who has a 3.31 GPA. On Wednesday night, Oklahoma's Kelvin Sampson reached a milestone with the Sooners' 93-65 win over Texas Tech. And that's the subject of today's Southwestern Bell Big 12 conference call. It was Sampson's 300th win of his career. Sampson reached number 300 in his 17th year in coaching. But as you can guess, Coach Sampson has plenty of others to thank for his accomplishment.
I was thinking back to my first one. I said, just shows you how precious life is. Been blessed with great assistant coaches and a lot of great players. That's why you win.
And tonight on ESPN, you can see Sampson go for win number 301 as the Sooners host Missouri in a first division battle. And in that game, you can also see Kareem Rush. The Missouri freshman is the Phillips 66 Rookie of the Week after averaging 25 points a game last week. We'll have more on the Big 12 Network right after this.
Love John McEnroe. He's the best tennis player ever. I mean, I hated him, but I loved him. I mean, some people just hated him. I mean, Wimbledon hated him. The English hated him. The ball boys, they hated him. The other players hated him. Jimmy Connors, Bjorn Borg, he drove him nuts. He had control of you. He would have control of your mind. He'd win and win and win, and you'd hate him and hate him and hate him. You can say what you want to say about John McEnroe, but he was a genius.
You've got to call 1-800-CLASSIC to get ESPN Classic.
If I had one of those TV rating boxes on my television, the #1 show in the country would be 11 p.m. Sports Center. I never miss it. In my opinion, it's the best thing going. Okay, maybe it won't hit #1, but it'll definitely give Dharma and Greg a run for their money. Face it, America. Situation comedy, it's a dead genre.
He was part of the animal group. To study the mind of a convicted killer.
Are you a murderer? Oh, yeah.
A psychiatrist.
If you don't talk to me, I can't help you.
Is prepared to risk everything. Academy Award winner Anthony Hopkins.
Never had control. You only thought you had it.
Academy Award winner Cuba Gooding Jr.
He's leading me into the jungle.
He's leading you?
Instinct.
What are you up to? Therapy?
Now on pay-per-view, rated R.
Iowa State 19-0 when leading at halftime this year, and at the half, they lead Oklahoma State by 6. And there's Johnny Orr, a great celebration for him, celebrating his 14 years at Iowa State earlier today. John Walters, Paul Splittorff back with you. And Paul, in the first half, Iowa State gets out to a 12-point lead. Eddie Sutton switches to zone. Now it's down to a 6-point game.
Well, Iowa State had a great combination going. They had Michael Nurse hot from the outside. They had Marcus Fizer working down low, and Eddie Sutton had to do something. Gamble a little bit, because when you've got a hot shooter, teams really don't like to go to a zone, but they had to shut down one part of the game. They elected to go to the zone to try to slow down Iowa State, and it took the fans out of the game at the same time.
All right, let's take a look at our Shelter Insurance first half highlights.
Well, early in the ballgame, Marcus Fizer led the way for Iowa State. This is a rare three-point shot for Marcus Fizer, but he's about 50% on the season from long range. He was 2 of 3 and 3 points early on in the game. Joe Adkins, a hot hand early for Oklahoma State. There's the give and go, had a layup, but early in the ballgame, he hit a couple threes. In fact, he was 2 of 3 from three-point range to get the Cowboys offense going. He leads them in scoring at halftime. He has 10 points at the break. Marcus Fizer kind of disappeared after the Cowboys went into the zone. The Cyclones had to work hard to find him. When they did, he knew what to do with it. Strong finish there. Fizer has 16 points for the Cyclones.
And those are the Shelter Insurance first half highlights for your life, home, car, farm, or business. Shelter Insurance will always be there for you. Now let's take a look at the Buick first half stats. And there's the most important stat, the score. And here's the rest of them.
Iowa State continues to shoot well, 53%. Free throws not a factor for either team early on in the ballgame. Three-point shooting is a factor. Pretty much a standoff right there. Rebounds. Iowa State has been out-rebounded their last 3 ball games, doing better here this afternoon against Oklahoma State.
Well, Marcus Fizer has led the way with 16. Iowa State leads it by 6. Be right back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66, the Performance Company.
Introducing ESPN Extra, the brand new cable channel for sports fans who can't get enough. On ESPN Extra, you get more of the sports you love, like international soccer from around the world, including the UEFA Champions League. You'll see international auto racing, fitness, and outdoor programming. Plus, there's EXPN, which offers exciting extreme sports programming. It's all on pay-per-view around the clock all week long and only on cable. Watch ESPN Now or your program guide to see what's on. Then order exactly like you would for a pay-per-view movie. ESPN Extra, you can't do better than that.
Basic human instinct tells us that we should avoid fast-moving projectiles at all costs. But for a select few, this is not the rule. They are the most primitive athlete in all of sports. They are a different breed. For they are the ones who, against all impulse and desire, volunteer to place themselves in front of the target. The NHL on ESPN. This is the game.
Hey, my name is Rick, but everyone calls me The Rick. Yeah, so I'm on ESPN.com. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what .com stands for. Well, Dot is short for Dorothy, the Bambino's second daughter. And Com, short for Comiskey Park, where Dorothy sat in seat 7H, and the Bambino hit a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning to win the first All-Star game back in '33. Hence .com.
Big 12 basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, where we put the best in our super clean gasolines so you can get the most out of your car. Choose Phillips 66, the Performance Company.
Just underway here in the second half. We expected a good game. We've had one so far. Oklahoma State trailing by 6. Adkins on a pass to Mason. Couldn't finish. Jonzen couldn't do it either.
Not surprising to see Oklahoma State look for Desmond Mason the first time down the floor. Has just 4 points at halftime on 1 of 6 shooting in that first half.
I'm not sure how Fizer got that one to go. He has 18.
Well, it's been that kind of year for him. You wonder how he does things night in and night out. But most of the time, he's just out there outworking people.
Fizer is 61% shooter from the floor. Shot under 50% a year ago. Oklahoma State trails by 8. Gottlieb.
Iowa State caught in a shift that time. A little switch defensively.
Oh, great pass, but they couldn't finish. Nice look by Adkins, but Montonati could not finish the play.
And you've got to hit that shot, especially on the road.
And Michael Nurse hits the 3 at the other end.
That's a 5-point swing in the ballgame. Oklahoma State, the 2 points they didn't get on their offensive end, and then 3 on the other end in transition for the Cyclones.
Timeout, Eddie Sutton. Iowa State has reached the 40-point first. The reason it's called Kelly's rule, a reporter from Boone by the name of Dick Kelly has a theory that when Iowa State hits 41st, they win, and he's been right. They're 32-0 under Larry Eustachy when they hit 41st. Here's the 3 by Nurse.
Iowa State, look how they fan out and fill out on the perimeter. Stevie Jonzen, the big man, leading the way down the middle of the floor, but their guards fan out on that 3 line. That's why Oklahoma State talked about their transition defense being important. Transition defense means giving a position inside. You don't want to give up the layup, but you also got to get out there and cover the 3 shooter.
Michael Nurse has hit 4 3-pointers so far. The senior playing his final home game, and Eddie Sutton called the timeout to stop the bleeding.
Eddie Sutton took a timeout early in that first half to stop the bleeding. So the Cowboys starting the second half like they started the first.
And Desmond Mason just 1 of 7 from the floor in this game. Here comes Gottlieb racing into the front court for the layup. Well, he just beat everybody to the basket.
And nobody took away the driving lane because Iowa State is going to continue to play the pass first, even when Gottlieb gets well into their defense. Figure he's not going to shoot until he has to.
Nurse for 3 more. Got it. He has got it stuck on automatic. 15 for Nurse.
Almost unlimited range for him when he gets it going. And he's had it going recently for Iowa State, not just here this afternoon.
Iowa State has matched its biggest lead now at 12. And a foul on Tinsley as he reached around Adkins.
That's been a great battle all afternoon, and Iowa State players worked on this yesterday afternoon, especially the guards. They want to get down low and try to deny the pass inside. Don't want to get sealed off down low, even against one of the guards like Adkins.
And a whistle here. They had a shot clock problem, I believe. An 8-2 run for Iowa State. Larry Eustachy's team has surprised everybody this year with its run in the Big 12. And a big part of it has been three-point shooting. You see what the percentages are today.
Can anybody even contest Larry Eustachy for Coach of the Year in the conference?
Well, there's some other good candidates, but he has had a remarkable season.
Oklahoma State will need to rely on their veteran leadership, their senior experience.
Gottlieb on the miss, Nurse the rebound. Iowa State would love to run. Here's Stevie Jonzen finishing. And Hilton Coliseum erupts.
Iowa State is not a big team, but their big guys, Stevie Jonzen, Marcus Fizer, can get out and run the floor better than most of the other big players.
Foul on Fizer as he went for the steal. Second foul on Marcus Fizer. And Alexander will check in for Oklahoma State.
Nothing like a fast break basket to light up the crowd. And you talk about the big guys. Mason been very quiet for Oklahoma State. Marcus Fizer, great start in the ball game in the first half. Another good start here to open up in the second.
As you mentioned earlier, Paul, Fizer had the big game against Oklahoma State a year ago. 32 points. At the time, it was a career high.
And
Oklahoma State won the game.
Oklahoma State just 1 of 5 from the field here to open in the second half. Need a good possession here.
Montonati
looking for Mason. He can't get open against Michael Nurse.
And it's a turnover. It'll go to Iowa State.
Just 10 turnovers total in the first half by these two teams. Eddie Sutton knows that his team needed good possession right there. Didn't need the turnover.
Well, the way Oklahoma State can shoot the three-point shot, they can get back in this game in a hurry. There's the turnover story.
So much time left in this basketball game for things to happen to both teams. Iowa State has a lot of momentum right now.
Horton for 3. Long rebound, Adkins. Alexander loves to shoot it from out there. This is Mason. Desmond Mason, tough shot. And he walks with it first.
Iowa State that time backing off defensively, taking away the dribble drive. Let the Cowboys stay out on the perimeter. Struggling with shooting here early in the second half. They're going to give them those outside shots. Take away the drive. They want to get it to the basket.
For the game, Iowa State is shooting 57%.
Now Oklahoma State back out in that 1-1-3 zone. Want to make sure that you keep a defender on the ball at all times. And the end steps out to the corner with Fizer.
Tinsley on a great look to Jonzen.
Point guard's made a difference here in Ames this year. Tinsley, the ability to pick apart a defense with his dribble drive and with his pass. Found Stevie Jonzen open just inside the lane.
It's a 12-2 run for Iowa State. The Cyclones have their biggest lead. Adkins tries to answer. Fizer rebound.
Had the answer in the first half, missed right there.
Montonati reaches in and gets a foul. Second foul for Montonati.
So you talk about the work of the point guards, and we've got 2 good ones going here in this ball game. Tinsley sees the open man inside. Nice move by Stevie Jonzen to get the defender on his hip. Made himself available to guard. Even stuck out his hand to give that card a target with the bounce pass.
Jamaal Tinsley out of Brooklyn, New York. Brings a lot of flash and flair to the basketball court.
Now Iowa State gets to play their game, be chasing in the offensive end. But Nurse has the field. Free to launch the long one.
A rare miss for Nurse, and Montonati got the rebound for the Cowboys.
Iowa State continues to play the man-to-man defense, but sagging off, taking away the drive.
Jump shot wouldn't go. Jonzen on the rebound.
Well, Iowa State had inside rebounding position that time, but a couple of white jerseys going for the ball that time, knocked it loose. Jonzen in good position for the 2 points.
Jonzen had 13 rebounds against Oklahoma, so he's very capable on the boards. Tinsley on a crossover. Lost control of it. Fizer's up with it. His jump shot. Off the mark. And the rebound to Mason. Adkins on a look to Montonati, but he overthrew him. Another turnover for the Cowboys. It was a clean first half, but they turned it over here in the second. Iowa State by 14. We'll be right back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66, the Performance Company.
There was no way that we could win this game. We didn't have a shot. I mean, it was American kids that were like 22 years old. They're fighting against these big Russian guys, and there was no chance. And then...
You've got to call 1-800-CLASSIC to get ESPN Classic.
The games will come to an end this weekend, but that doesn't mean you have to leave the worldwide leader in sports at home. Because the news, interviews, and analysis from your favorite ESPN personalities continues all day, every day, on over 600 radio stations nationwide. Check your local listings to find the ESPN radio station near you. ESPN Radio. Take it with you.
While hockey at times seems chaotic, it is the superstar who is able to bring about order. The one who dominates finds a way to make time go faster for his opponent, while at the same moment extending his own time to create opportunity. The NHL on ESPN. This is the game.
Iowa State has opened up a 14-point lead with 15 minutes to go here in the second half.
Well, Iowa State has come out in the second half playing solid defense, taking away the drive of Oklahoma State. Back off defensively. Desmond Mason forces that off-balance shot. And Iowa State shooting very well early in the second half, playing solid defense on the defensive end. Look at those numbers right there. Oklahoma State not shooting well in the ball game. They're just 2 of 8 to start this second half. 5 of 8 overall.
We saw that graphic that said Iowa State has held 35 consecutive opponents under 50%. The last one to shoot better than 50% against Iowa State was Oklahoma State down in Stillwater last year. Nurse on a look to Fizer. He's double teamed. Swings it back out, kind of bowled it out to Nurse.
Iowa State has had a good matchup here this afternoon. When they haven't been able to find Fizer, they've been able to find the perimeter shooters.
And there was the perimeter shooter. Nurse missing. Fizer took it away from Jonzen. Now Fizer will take it in.
That simple 1-2. Never had possession of that ball, but went and got it. And he was all alone when he did it.
He does have a motor that doesn't stop running. 16-point lead for Iowa State. Mason going to work on Horton. Drew a foul. Another look back at Fizer's play.
Well, Iowa State had already missed the long-range jumper. The battle was on for the ball. It was a 2-man scramble. Once Fizer got it, there wasn't anybody down there that was going to be able to stop him.
One more look.
Fizer knocks the ball loose. The scramble is on.
Marcus Fizer already is very close to his season average in scoring. He leads the league. Steal by Iowa State. They've got the numbers. Horton off to Tinsley. He got it.
Iowa State has 3 guards on the floor, and all 3 of them have been point guards in their career at one time or another. So they don't care who handles the ball out front.
Adkins on a turnaround, blocked by Stevie Jonzen. It's a 16-4 run in the second half for Iowa State, and they try to add to it here.
And it doesn't look like the Cyclones want to be cautious now.
Nurse missed the 3. It went in and out, and Weber the rebound.
Had the right guy with the right look, even though it came early in the possession.
The roof would have blown right off this place if Nurse had knocked that one down. Oklahoma State needs to find somebody to step up and make some shots to get them back in this thing.
Well, they're in trouble right now, even though a long way to go in this ballgame. Haven't gotten anything going in the second half.
Glendon Alexander volunteers. He hits the jump shot.
Well, Glendon Alexander came off the bench in the first half and hit a long three, his first shot. And also hits his first shot here in the second half.
He's a guy that is capable of heating up in a hurry. Fizer, jump shot. In and out. And look at the hustle by Jonzen to save it for Iowa State.
Marcus Fizer, uncontested on that shot, very capable of hitting the shot. Stevie Jonzen with the inside position, but not good inside position, pushed too far under the basket, lost control of the ball, but Cyclones get a break. It went off the foot of one of the Cowboys.
16-point lead for Iowa State. Nobody expected a margin quite like that in this game.
Larry Eustachy talking yesterday was concerned about it going the other way.
Tinsley hits a three, and when that happens, you know things are going right. Tinsley just 6 of 39 coming into this game from three-point range. Timeout on the floor. Eddie Sutton wants to talk it over. Iowa State has its biggest lead at 19. And Hilton Coliseum is up for grabs. Well, Paul, it's been 55 years since they've won a conference title here. That's a pretty long drought.
Well, if things keep going like they are right now, they'll be in first place in this conference at least for a few more days. Iowa State playing their last home game of the season here this afternoon. They'll finish at Texas Tech and at Baylor. Oklahoma State out of Stillwater for the final time this year. They'll finish at Gallagher-Iba. Tinsley, even though he hasn't shot well on the season, frontline player is going to hit a good percentage of these shots. All kinds of time to set up, and nothing but the bottom of the net for Tinsley.
And now Oklahoma State has its work cut out for it to try to get back in this thing.
Eddie Sutton knows that he has some problems over there on that Oklahoma State bench. Oklahoma State 3 of 10 shooting here in the second half. Iowa State's 8 of 14.
Oklahoma State has won the last 4 meetings between these teams. Alexander for 3. And there's the rebound.
And Alexander couldn't go back-to-back on made shots.
Horton on a drive to the hoop and drew a foul and got clobbered to the floor by Williams. And now Williams appears to be hurt. The freshman, Andre Williams, might have fallen on his arm. Let's take a look.
He just came onto the floor that time for Oklahoma State. Eddie Sutton resting a couple of his frontline players.
It's a good look at Coach Sutton. Well, for a chance to win $1 million at the half-court line, don't miss the Bank of America Home Equity $1 Million Dream Shot. For complete rules, visit www.bankofamerica.com/sports. No purchase or transaction is necessary. And the trainers for both teams out to take a look.
And an opportunity to slow down the Iowa State Cyclones with this injury timeout for Andre Williams. Take another look at how it happened. Iowa State trying to push the issue, getting it to the offensive end. Kantrail Horton, the guard, but with a strong upper body. Look at him taking on 3 Oklahoma State Cowboys, knocked to the floor. And Andre Williams still on the floor.
Catching his breath. Well, Iowa State has really been limited in who's been able to score. Just 5 players have scored. The bench has not contributed any points. But as we mentioned earlier, Paul, in a game like this, you're not going to see a lot of whistles. And the Cyclones can afford to have a thin bench because their starters can stay on the floor if they're going to let them play both ways.
Well, you would have to think that that's going to show sooner or later. Eddie Sutton talking about the 2 teams being evenly matched, good players at key positions and all kinds of offensive weapons. Most teams a little bit deeper than what Iowa State is, but it has not hurt that club at all so far this year, and it's getting late.
Horton to the free throw line for Iowa State. The Cyclones are a team that depends on free throw shooting this season, and yet they have not hit a free throw all day. 0 of 2 from the free throw line for Iowa State. It's been done with field goals, 24 of them. Horton looking for his first points. Now he becomes the 5th player to score. It was actually 4 prior to that free throw. Montonati back in. Mason will get a rest for Oklahoma State. Kantrail Horton, the transfer, came in at the semester last year. He's been a big part of Iowa State's success. The lead is 21.
When you're down by 21, it's getting late in the ball game if you're Oklahoma State. Need to make something happen and need it to make it happen here quickly.
Fizer and Weber battling down low. Alexander swings it to Montonati. Gottlieb drives in. Tough shot, he got it.
Well, tough shot. He's going to be able to take it all the way to the basket. If he can beat his man on the dribble out on the floor, Iowa State worked on it all week. They're not going to slide on over to take away the drive because they know he's a better passer than he is a shooter.
Gottlieb just 3 assists so far in this game. He's the national leader in that category. Eustachy decided to guard him straight up and not give him passing angles. Stevie Jonzen, a good look to Fizer. 22 for Fizer, and Iowa State leads by 21.
And a great pass from Stevie Jonzen. Iowa State likes to run the high-low. Stevie Jonzen that time up at the free throw line. Fizer working on the blocks.
Gottlieb, a good look to Weber, but he couldn't control it. Loose ball. Now it's Alexander for 3 from the corner. And Weber the rebound. Second chance for the Cowboys. Gottlieb on a drive. Montonati to the baseline.
Iowa State just covering everything defensively right now.
Great job defensively by the Cyclones. Good look by Gottlieb. Weber on the finish.
The thing about Gottlieb, you never know where the pass is going to go. He never tips off that pass. He's looking away, he's looking the opposite way, and all of a sudden it whistles in there. You've got to have good hands when you're on the floor with Doug Gottlieb, because he's going to have a little snap on his pass.
And the big guys will be rewarded if they work to get open. Horton. We approach the midway point of the second half. Fizer on a drive. Tough shot. Alexander the rebound.
Actually had a lot better shot before he put it on the floor and took it on down the lane. Uncontested inside the circle, just above the free throw line. He hit a couple of those earlier in the ball game.
There's a whistle, a foul away from the ball on Weber as he battled with Fizer. Alex Weber, who's battled back problems throughout his career at Oklahoma State. The bulging disc in his lower back right now. Gottlieb taking it himself in this game, but his Cowboys trail it 60-41.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dick Vitale. You're probably wondering, what am I doing in one of these babies? A Rolls Royce. I'll tell you why. I'm getting ready to pick my all-Rolls Royce team. I mean, we're talking the best of the best. I'm going to talk about the Waltons, the Jamaals. We're going to talk about the Magics and the Jordans. You name them. Get a TO. Get a timeout. Get a TO, baby. Get a timeout. Get a TO, baby. It's going to be unbelievable, baby.
Playing this month on ESPN Extra.
Passion, intensity, artistry. Act now and watch Major League Soccer matches you can't see anywhere else. MLS ESPN Shootout, a season's worth of excitement. Don't miss a beat of the heart-pounding, heart-breaking action. Call now to order.
Introducing ESPN Extra, the brand new cable channel for sports fans who can't get enough. On ESPN Extra, you get more of the sports you love, like international soccer from around the world, including the UEFA Champions League. You'll see international auto racing, fitness, and outdoor programming. Plus, there's EXPN, which offers exciting extreme sports programming. It's all on pay-per-view around the clock all week long and only on cable. Watch ESPN Now or your program guide to see what's on. Then order exactly like you would for a pay-per-view movie. ESPN Extra, you can't do better than that.
Iowa State trying to run its home court winning streak to 20. The Cyclones lead it by 19 over Oklahoma State. Well, today's Cargill Big 12 alumni academic achiever is Kansas alum Gale Sayers. A great string of accomplishments for this KU great. Cargill cares about education. And Paul, we both grew up in Chicago's area. We know what Gale Sayers means to that city.
Kind of fun watching Gale Sayers run out of the halfback position and Dick Butkus play out of that middle linebacker position. The monsters of the Midway.
Gale Sayers, one of the most graceful running backs ever to play the game.
Desmond Mason back out on the floor for Oklahoma State. He's got the coverage on point guard Tinsley.
Nurse on a drive. Tried to leave it for Jonzen. Drew a foul first. Neither team is in the bonus yet, and it'll be a while before they are. Paul, it seems like it's not too late for Oklahoma State to make that run, but it's getting there. They have to make it quickly.
Well, when they are playing well, they're doing a good job of running up and down the floor in transition. Haven't been able to do that, and Iowa State has taken away the drive. So that's kind of where their ball game starts. Other than that, you've got to hope that you hit threes. Now, recently, Oklahoma State's been able to do all of those things. That's one of the reasons they have played so well. But Iowa State has taken away a couple of things that they like.
Nice play, but Jonzen couldn't finish. The rebound to Adkins. You see some other scores from around the country at the bottom of your screen.
And that's the transition game that I was talking about. Oklahoma State wanted to run. Iowa State already had 3 white jerseys down the floor when the Cowboys got to the offensive end.
Nice move by Brian Montonati down on the right baseline.
Montonati, a huge day against Nebraska last Saturday. Had 22 points and 12 rebounds.
He's had back-to-back double-doubles and 8 so far this season. He's really stepped up his game. Horton on the perimeter. The Iowa State lead is 17. Stevie Jonzen, the senior, takes it in. He's having a good game, Paul, in his final home game as a senior at Iowa State.
Well, you want to have a game to be remembered when you're in the senior playing your final game on your home floor. And Stevie Jonzen is doing just that here this afternoon for Iowa State. Big battle inside was Jonzen working against Marcus Fizer. Then Jonzen had to step up and try to take away the drive of Stevie Jonzen. Just not quick enough.
Jonzen shooting 68% from the floor this season. He's been very selective with his shots, and today he's 6 of 8 from the floor. We approach the 8-minute mark. Tinsley on a give and go. Left hand, missed it. Rebound Montonati.
Oklahoma State that time gambling defensively. They'll have to gamble the rest of the ball game.
Look at that acrobatic move by Mason, and he gets it back. That's what Desmond Mason can do.
Well, how about determination? Tried to get the steal on the defensive end. That didn't happen. When he got the ball in his hands on the offensive end, now he's realizing he has to lead the way. If the Cowboys are going to get back into it, he's going to have to lead the way. That's just his second basket of the game, and this one didn't come easy. Follow it once, follow it twice, then the finger roll. He's going to need more of that.
Iowa State threw it away on the other end, so now Oklahoma State with a chance to make that run. Adkins and Alexander, the 2 gunners, are on the floor together. They can get you back in a game in a hurry. Jonzen. Adkins. Tough shot off the glass and in. Joe Adkins with 12. He's been quiet since letting it up early.
Well, remember, Oklahoma State still has a number of different offensive weapons. Joe Adkins just one of those weapons. They're going to come back in this one. They're going to need to get them all hot here in the last 7.5 minutes.
The lead was 21. It's down to 15. Fizer backs in. Jonzen, good defensive work. Fizer couldn't get the shot, but drew a foul on Montonati. That'll be the 3rd on Brian Montonati.
Marcus Fizer, he knows that he's the leader for Iowa State, wants to make something happen. Turning into the double team coverage that time that comes across the floor from Montonati. And he'll have free throws.
Marcus Fizer has improved in just about every area this year. It includes free throw shooting. It's up to 71% on the season.
This Larry Eustachy basketball team does so many things that the previous teams of Tim Floyd's did. So many of the carryovers that shooting more or making more free throws than your opponent's attempt. A premium put on defense without fouling. Releasing a couple players from the offensive end to take away the transition game. It's all working here this afternoon.
Fizer missed the second. He has 23 on the day.
Oklahoma State needs shots, and they need them quickly.
A steal by Iowa State. Nurse on the run, all the way in. Missed it with the left hand. And it's out of bounds. It'll belong to Oklahoma State, I believe. No, it'll belong to Iowa State. It will belong to Iowa State. But first a timeout on the floor. 7:08 left to go. Iowa State leads it by 16. Adkins trying to bring the Cowboys back. Right back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66, the Performance Company.
Get into the zone. The ESPN Zone, the ultimate sports dining and entertainment experience. Eat great food, watch any game that you want, and compete in our sports arena. ESPN Zone. What more do you need? In the Zone at 601 East Pratt Street. In Chicago on the corner of Ohio and Wabash. And in New York's Times Square on the corner of 42nd and Broadway. And coming soon, ESPN Zones in Atlanta and Washington, D.C.
He was part of the animal group. To study the mind of a convicted killer.
Are you a murderer?
Oh, yeah. A psychiatrist.
If you don't talk to me, I can't help you.
Is prepared to risk everything. Academy Award winner Anthony Hopkins.
Never had control. You only thought you had it.
Academy Award winner Cuba Gooding Jr.
He's leading me into the jungle.
He's leading you?
Instinct.
What are you up to? Therapy?
Now on pay-per-view, rated R.
Do you want to know when the games begin? Tune to ESPN Now, available only on cable, for a complete guide to all sports on television. You get continuously updated schedule information so you know exactly what's on when. Plus, get live sports headlines from ESPN.com and the Go Network. If you want to know what the latest sports news is and where the games are, the place to be is ESPN Now. ESPN Now. It's where sports fans go first for sports. To get ESPN Now, call your cable company.
Today's game is brought to you by Phillips 66, where we put the best in our super clean gasolines so you get the most out of your car. Choose Phillips 66, the Performance Company. Paul, I think we're as caught off guard as anybody by this score. We expected a nip-and-tuck game down to the wire, and Iowa State has really had things its way most of the way.
Well, if you're the visiting team, you're always got to be concerned about going onto the other guy's floor, but it looked like these teams were evenly matched. Iowa State, they came out hot. They've had a nice balance all afternoon long, and maybe it started when that guy took the floor. Johnny Orr returning after many years.
Well, this place did erupt when Orr was introduced, the all-time winningest coach in Iowa State history.
Well, Iowa State can take all the time that they want on the offensive end. Be very patient, work the ball around, force the Cowboys to play some defense. Make sure you don't turn it over. At the same time, get a good shot before that clock runs out.
Fizer went in, came back out, tried to go back in. Tinsley on the dribble. Shot blocked, and a jump ball to call. Good defensive work by Oklahoma State.
Desmond Mason has had the defensive coverage on Tinsley all afternoon, trying to take away the drive and make him shoot over a much taller player.
Shot clock at 8 as they inbound. Tinsley again, over to Fizer, and he finished.
Marcus Fizer is always moving towards the basket. When he's got it on the dribble, he's going to take it to and through that defender.
25 points for Marcus Fizer. Montonati tries to answer, but he walked with it. And it's getting away from Oklahoma State again.
Well, they know that they're in a desperate situation right now and playing a little bit quicker than they really need to. Creating some turnovers.
15 turnovers for Oklahoma State, just 5 for Iowa State. Nurse takes it in, kicks out to Tinsley. Horton tried to fire it into Fizer, and a good steal by Montonati. Oklahoma State on the run. Desmond Mason had a block from behind by Tinsley.
That was not a shot. That was just knocked loose. But Tinsley leads the Cyclones in block shots. Imagine that, your point guard.
And Fizer tries to take it in and commits an offensive foul. Fizer created the contact. Larry Eustachy disagrees, but Fizer will pick up his third foul.
Well, let's take a look. Fizer with the ball on the floor. Movement along the side of the lane. That call normally goes against the defender, but the official saw it the other way.
Montonati down low. Temporarily knocked away. He got it back, scored, and drew the foul. Montonati will go for a three-point play.
Fans here at the Coliseum wanted a traveling call earlier in that possession. Didn't get it. Montonati stayed with the program, finished with 2 points. Have another look. Double team pressure. They thought there was travel right there, but the step through got him a layup. Thought he had shuffled his foot just before that. Call came from the underneath official, and I think Stevie Jonzen got the foul.
Montonati couldn't convert, and the rebound to Tinsley. Jamaal Tinsley will spread the floor. Iowa State, with those 3 guards, likes to do this and use the dribble to create.
Sometimes Iowa State starts out a ball game spreading the floor to see how people are going to guard them. All the guards that they have on the floor, ability to go on the dribble drive. There goes one of them.
Johnson's short jumper is off the mark, and the rebound controlled by Jonzen. And he threw it away. Here they come. Marcus Fizer goes right over Paul Splittorff. And the save goes to Iowa State. Paul, I admire you for hanging in there to take the charge.
Hey, there's nowhere to go. You save the monitors and, more importantly, save the bottled water.
Good work out of you, Paul. 16-point game. You did keep that bottled water intact. That was impressive.
Iowa State wants to play a little cat and mouse right now.
Tinsley, left hand, couldn't finish. Jonzen on the rebound.
Iowa State has the right guy handling. Jamaal Tinsley loves the attention up front, can take care of the basketball. Showtime for him.
Mason missed a jumper. And Horton the rebound.
Iowa State gets good rebounding numbers from their guards because on the defensive end, they commit all 5 to defensive rebounding. Something that they have focused on from day one in their fall practice. Rebounding, they talk about it every day. They've struggled in that category over the last 3 games, but doing okay here this afternoon against Oklahoma State.
Horton yo-yos the dribble out high, now behind the back. Shot clock down to 10. It has been a terrific performance so far by Iowa State. Horton will try to add to it. Tough shot. Got it off just in the nick of time, and then it's out of bounds to the Cowboys. We have a break. Iowa State led it by 6 at the half. The Cyclones lead it by 16 now.
It's College Hoops Blues. From ESPN's archives, you'll see basketball footage that'll make you flip. Action that'll spin your head around and make you lose control. You'll see highlights that'll definitely get your attention and knock you clear out of bounds. So pull up your favorite seat. Prepare to be knocked out.
College Hoops Blues, playing this month on ESPN Extra.
People think I live a pampered life, but I work hard to keep up my business. For example, no matter how late I was out the night before or how much I want to hit that snooze button, I always manage to wake up first thing in the morning and catch that 11 a.m. Sports Center.
Powering up. You got it. 3 homers in 3 games for Fernando Tatis to start the season.
It's not easy, but it's all about commitment.
I know this guy that used to play professional football. In 1983, he tore all the tendons in his pinky. They told him he could get an operation and miss a few games. Or he could chop it off and keep playing. He told them to chop it off. Ronnie Lott is old school.
You've got to call 1-800-CLASSIC to get ESPN Classic.
Iowa State leads it by 16, trying to take over first place in the conference. 3:46 to go. And now let's take a look at the sleep-in game summary, Paul.
Well, Oklahoma State hit a couple threes earlier in the ballgame from Joe Adkins. Very little since then, just 4 of 14. Desmond Mason, that's been tough finding him throughout this afternoon's contest. Iowa State, 21 assists in 27 field goals, only 8 turnovers. Last year, they had more turnovers on the year than assists. And those are the standings as they are right now. But about to change.
You can see the importance of this game. And Texas still in contention as well. Alexander for 3. Short. Rebound controlled by Iowa State.
Well, the winner of this ball game clinches a first-round bye at the Big 12 Conference Tournament in Kansas City.
Iowa State's bench has hardly been used at all. Just 6 minutes total of bench time for Iowa State. The starters have been out there virtually the whole way. Gottlieb leaves it to the corner. Joe Adkins. His drive knocked away by Tinsley.
Iowa State is putting all kinds of pressure on the perimeter shooters. Gottlieb won't see much pressure at all. They'll back off Montonati.
Adkins on a drive. Joe Adkins with 14 to lead Oklahoma State.
Well, the Cyclones putting pressure on the perimeter. They'll give that dribble drive before they'll give the open three-point shot.
Fizer with the traffic clear. 27 for Fizer. Mason couldn't get the shot, drew a foul. Let's take a look at our best play of the game, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
And I think we just saw the best play of the game, at least the most spectacular. Jamaal Tinsley with the look down the floor, a little fake from Fizer, and the reverse dunk. Oklahoma State putting pressure on the offensive end. They're a frantic basketball team, and Iowa State getting points at the other end.
Mason has been quiet, just 2 of 10 from the floor. His free throw is good. Desmond Mason, the second leading scorer in the conference, averaging close to 19 points a game. He's been held to 7 so far this afternoon. He hit them both.
Oklahoma State half-court pressure, the last possession for the Cyclones. Three-quarter court pressure this time. Mason very quick out there at that point. All the guards that Iowa State has on the floor, you wouldn't think this time of year that a press would be all that effective against a team like they have on the floor now.
Fizer goes to work. Shot clock down to 10. Fizer will take it right back in there. Tough shot, off balance, he hit it. He is something else. Marcus Fizer with 29.
That's been the big improvement in his game this year, the ability to put the ball on the floor and create shots.
And you see the smile on Marcus Fizer's face. He has taken his game to a completely different level. The steal by Tinsley. Fizer's, there's the 70 points or more. Iowa State 20-2 this season, and they're approaching 70 today. But this one has been all Iowa State.
They won't need 70 points to win this one.
Nope. Tinsley fouled by Gottlieb on the perimeter. Marcus Fizer's last 3 games, 30 against Colorado, 35 against Texas, 29 tonight. He's playing at an unbelievable level right now.
Those are the first 2 ball games that he scored 30 or more this season. Certainly capable of scoring 30, but playing his best basketball in the year, and you got to believe the Cyclones are also playing their best game of the season. What a week this has been for them. A win against Texas on this floor in midweek. Looks like they're going to win this one against Oklahoma State.
Fizer got the timeout, and Larry Eustachy's team will talk it over. Marcus Fizer, Larry Eustachy, pretty good friends right now. Hasn't always been that way. When Marcus Fizer first had Larry Eustachy come to campus, he was slow adapting to the change from Tim Floyd. But they've earned each other's respect. Well, they've got a great relationship now.
There were some things that Larry Eustachy expected out of Marcus Fizer, wanted him to do that he had done throughout his career. Fans here at Hilton want one more year. I'll tell you, the way he's playing right now, you got to wonder what would be in his future at the next level up. And if he's a high-round lottery pick, Larry Eustachy would be the first guy to say, hey, go ahead and go, open the door, it's your time. Plays like this is what makes Marcus Fizer tough at this level. Who's going to match up with him at that spot on the floor and still be able to handle him inside?
And Eddie Sutton, who knows a thing or two about basketball, told us last night that he thinks Marcus Fizer is a lottery pick. Tinsley. Out to Fizer. Goes right through the double team. And then brings it back out.
Well, you know, you talk about lottery picks and what's going to happen. What's really important right now is for the guys to enjoy where they are. Now, Marcus Fizer has been the go-to guy in this program since he hit campus and having more fun now than at any other time in his career. Needs to enjoy this time. These guys are coming down the stretch, may win the regular season conference championship. Who would have thought they were going to do that a year ago when they finished 15-15? Need to enjoy what's happening right now. Final game for a couple seniors on the floor. Want to make it a good one for them. They're going away party.
Tinsley's free throw is good. Well, one of the people in attendance today is Jerry Krause, the general manager of the Chicago Bulls. Taking a look at Fizer, Desmond Mason. And now we'll have Michael Nurse check out of the game to a curtain call. Nurse hit 5 3-pointers early to really get Iowa State going.
And before the ad, he had tears in his eyes when he stood in the center court circle with his mother here on Seniors Day. Gave her a flower, a big hug and a kiss. This will be a day they'll never forget.
And the other senior, Stevie Jonzen, comes out of the game now, too, to another big ovation. Tinsley missed, but Iowa State gets the rebound, and nothing is going Oklahoma State's way this afternoon. Timeout called by Iowa State. So they were tied up. Marcus Fizer is having fun playing college basketball, Paul, and I think that might be the one thing that might bring him back to Iowa State, because he's having so much fun right now.
Well, Larry Eustachy would tell you there's still some things, some loose ends to his game that he could do next year. But if he went early enough and the situation is such where you've got to go out and take it. You got everything accomplished at the college level personally that you wanted to. If you can win a conference championship, team-wise, you've done what you had hoped to, and you just rebuild with another player. So still a lot of things to be decided, but this team has got to have a bright future from now on through March. A lot of things to look forward to at Iowa State that you didn't think that you would have to deal with this season.
There's the upcoming schedule for Iowa State. They go on the road for 2 games in Texas this week. Brandon Hawkins gets a layup. First bench points of the day for Iowa State. Paul, I am shocked that Iowa State has been able to pull away and win by this kind of a margin. Oklahoma State got it to within 6 at the half, but Iowa State has pulled away here in the second. Gottlieb. Long jump shot by Glendon Alexander is good. A 3-pointer and a timeout call. Alexander hits his second 3. He has 10. And Eddie Sutton a quick timeout for Oklahoma State.
Eddie Sutton right here now just coaching for the future, anticipating some close games between now and the end of the year. And even though he's not going to win this one, play the game like it is a close one. Hit a basket, get a timeout. They'll come out defensively, do some things that they might want to do in future games as far as trapping, pressing, trying to get a steal, who to foul, things like that. This is like a practice session right now. You're practicing for upcoming games.
And there they are, both at home, Colorado and Oklahoma. Oklahoma State has already beaten Oklahoma in Norman this year. And they'll get a shot at them in Stillwater coming up. Eddie Sutton's team has had a terrific season. 22-3 record through 25 games. That's the best in 49 years in Stillwater. Tinsley. Threw it away. Montonati comes up with it. The lead is 16 as we approach the finish. Long jump shot by Mason. Wouldn't fall. And the battle for the rebound. Won by Alexander. He'll shoot it and hit it. Glendon Alexander hits his second straight 3. And again, Eddie Sutton calls timeout. So Eddie Sutton trying to get as much teaching in as he can. And you know, it's interesting, he said this week that he considers himself an educator. He said coaching is like teaching. I've always thought of myself as an educator, and he's done some pretty good educating through his years. 654 wins in his great career. But this day has belonged to Marcus Fizer. There's the standings, and after this one, Iowa State will stand alone in first place, looking for its first conference championship in 55 years. The last time they won it, it was the Big Six. It's doubled. Fizer has been the star. He throws it over to Tinsley. Now Hawkins leaves it for Tinsley, and he had it taken away by Montonati. Closing seconds from Ames. Alexander for 3. Missing. Montonati follows it in, and the basket will count. But it's not going to be enough because Larry Eustachy's team has improved to 12-2 in Big 12 conference play. And they take over first place in the league. Iowa State picked by most experts to finish between 6th and 9th. One magazine even finished the Cyclones, picked them to finish last. But right now, Iowa State firmly planted in the driver's seat in the Big 12 conference race. A 72-61 victory for the Cyclones. Fizer with 29 to lead the way.
Big 12 basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66. where we put the best in our super clean gasolines so you can get the most out of your car. Choose Phillips 66, the performance company. Sonic, America's Drive-In, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball on ESPN+. National Car Rental, what are you waiting for? Let's go. Advanced Auto Parts, the best part is our people. Southwestern Bell, a member of the SBC Global Network. Buick, isn't it time for a real car? And by Bank of America.
Marcus Fizer has come to tears. He knows this might be his last game at Hilton Coliseum. And what a way to go out if it is. 29 points. He was absolutely terrific. And it has come to tears. Iowa State went 18-0 this year at Hilton Coliseum. They run their overall home court winning streak to 20 consecutive games, and that man has been the reason that Iowa State is perched atop the Big 12 Conference. Let's go to Paul Splittorff.
Thank you, John. Larry Eustachy, the second-year coach of the Cyclones. Who would have thought that coming into this week, you knock off Texas in midweek, now this afternoon you get Oklahoma State. If you ever had a bigger time in your career?
That'd be an understatement. It's been a great week. I'm so proud of our guys. I'm so proud of our seniors, Stevie and Mike, to come through. You know, we're limited with the injury to Paul now, and we basically played 5 guys the whole game, and they really came through, and I've never been prouder of a group, and it's not over yet. We got a real tough swing into Texas, as we know, but we've got a chance to win this conference now.
How do you get a team to where they are today from where they were earlier in the year when you lose to Drake?
Well, I liked our team after we lost to Drake. We just didn't make baskets. We missed a lot of shots around the basket. We missed a lot of wide open shots. I said right after that game that we're going to be a good team, and I think that's held true.
Oklahoma State came in and went into a zone after you got going early. It looked like they wanted to take Fizer out of the game. Any adjustments that you have made right there?
Well, we just ran our zone offense, and that's what they did. They tried to take Fizer out of the game, and that's probably the best way to play us. It was smart, but we were patient. We knocked some threes down, first of all, and second of all, we got the ball inside. So it's a way to play us. It was a smart move by Eddie. I thought we were very patient.
How about your fans here? Hilton Coliseum, among the toughest in the league to play.
Well, they're chanting one more year for Fizer, and I'm going to start joining them right after we're done here. All right?
Well, you better get started on it. He's going to have some decisions to make. Hey, congratulations on everything you've done so far, and good luck the rest of the year.
All right, thank you.
Larry Eustachy, just his second year. John, who would have thought that he would have gotten all this done here this year?
He has done a remarkable job at Iowa State. The Cyclones now have matched their school record for victories with 24. They go to 24-4 overall. They're now 12-2 and all alone atop the Big 12 Conference. Who would have thunk it? Iowa State wins it 72-61 over 9th-rated Oklahoma State. Let's go to Doug Bell in Studio 66.
Welcome, everyone, to Studio 66. Congratulations to Iowa State, a big win over Oklahoma State today to grab hold of first place in the Big 12. Let's check out the highlights now from that game, OSU at ISU. The place was rocking and rolling even when Johnny Orr was on her before the game. Here's Johnny that had him going, and Marcus Fizer really had him going. The big one-handed stuff, and then check that out. Behind the back reverse slam. He was doing it all. Iowa State knocks off Oklahoma State 72-61. Fizer has 29 points to lead the way. And amazingly, Larry Eustachy uses 5 guys. He did not even make a substitution the other night in the second half against Texas. He basically goes with 5 the whole game today. We'll see how that works out as they get into the postseason. But right now,